And maybe you're like me, others can relate. So for example, so we've moved around the United States. We've lived in Texas, Wisconsin, Jersey, New York City. And in all of those states I attended Kingdom Halls of Jehovah's Witnesses. And I heard the stories of people I don't really think I heard a story when I lived in New York City, but I was kind of very irregular when we lived in New York City. But in all the other congregations, I heard multiple stories of horrific abuse, specifically child sexual abuse. And it was like the whole congregation knew that this had happened, but, you know, we're taught to forgive, and that's a whole other story. Forgiveness is something that you do for yourself. So yes, I do believe in forgiveness because that's how you are able to move on. Of course, it never means that you condone that sort of crime. But as, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses were taught to forgive and even like have a relationship with the person who committed these acts against you when you were a child. And, you know, let's all just sweep this under the rug and almost like pretend it never even happened. And so sometimes, especially when I watch cases like Jose Lopez or Candace Conti, and you see these victims who came forward and got lawyers and put all that hard work into actually suing Watchtower so that they could be held responsible for their participation in ruining people's lives. I sometimes think like, oh, why? I need to call my friend in such and such congregation from the past because I know she or he went through this horrible thing and they need to get their justice. And I start thinking about like all these other people and how they need to speak out. And then I remind myself that no, all I can do is stand up for myself, speak out against bullying behavior, and all those other people who have been victimized, maybe them doing their best right now is being in total denial. But 5 years from now, 20 years from now, they'll be in that place where they finally have had it up to here and they have to speak out. But it's never my place to tell someone else that I can present it as an opportunity. Like, look, you have an opportunity. Like, I need to do some research on this, but is it true that a law was changed in New York State to extend or pause any statute of limitations for child sex abuse for the next year? Again, I just remember like hearing this, but I think if it is true, this needs to be kind of made louder and people need to be aware that they have an opportunity to perhaps even join a class action lawsuit, because this is how laws get changed. And Watchtower has even admitted, oh, if you change the law, in other words, they're not going to be proactive, like take the high road, join the real world and call the police if there's even an allegation of child sex abuse. Like, they're not going to do that until they're told that they have to. And even like Montana, that is the law, they still didn't do it. But again, it's easy to get overwhelmed thinking about all the people out there because we've heard their personal stories, but they're not going to the authorities. Like, I was never sexually abused as a child. I don't have a case. Like, it never happened to me. And so I can't even begin to comprehend. Did I miss my turn? I can't even begin to comprehend how much courage and strength it has to take to like relive that trauma and go in a courtroom and talk about it. Like, these people who have done it are amazing to me. And it's probably why a lot of people just put it behind them and want to move forward and not even think about it. And that's their choice. I remember when I, was really struggling with severe depression, and sometimes I would literally go like 4 or 5 days in a row and only get out of bed to like have some water or go to the bathroom. Like, I just wanted to stay under the covers and sleep so I didn't have to think about all the suffering worldwide. Because my brain would go to things like all the starving children in Africa and India, and I would just think like, I want to save them all, but because I can't, I'm just going to stay in bed. Well, that doesn't serve anybody. So the point is, and it's actually a scriptural principle from the book of Galatians, that everyone does carry their own load, but we do help each other carry each other's burdens. And that totally coincides with the analogy that's said all the time about putting the oxygen mask on yourself first before you help your neighbor or a child put on their oxygen mask. Like, imagine if you were in a plane that's like on fire going down and you're running around putting everybody else's mask on, and then you collapse because of smoke inhalation. Then you can serve nobody. So we have to take care of ourselves first before we can help others. And that's the truth.